Hey everybody, it's Matt with Max Video, and I know I'm a bit late on this particular video. It was supposed to come up yesterday, but things happened, and I at least got it to you today. And I wasn't able to stream today because I had an audition, so hopefully Saturday. Anyway, today's video is a review on a book. The book is The Wind Through the Keyhole by Stephen King. The Wind Through the Keyhole is technically the final book that Stephen King wrote for the Dark Tower series. It is the last book he wrote, but it is not the last book in the series. It actually falls between books 4 and 5, so it is commonly referred to by fans of the series as book 4.5. This book came out in 2012, and like a lot of the books I've been reviewing lately, I did listen to this in audiobook form from audible.com. I will leave a link in the description below to the link on Amazon so you can check it out for yourself. You can get in audiobook form or in paper form or in probably ebook form as well, so give you options. But anyway, let's jump into this. Like I said, the book takes place between The Wizard and the Glass and The Wolves of the Kala. And if y'all would like me to review all the books in this series, let me know. I reviewed the first one due to not a lot of feedback from it. I didn't feel like, something people wanted. But this one, I felt since the Gunslinger movie is coming out this year, I felt I would at least explore one of them. And since I just finished this one, I thought, why not? So like I said, it falls between those two books, and it picks up a little bit after the final parts of The Wizard and the Glass, after they leave the Castle of Oz, where the man in black was residing. And it picks them up in their journey on the path of the beam. Roland, Eddie, Susanna, and Jake and Oi, as they follow the path of the beam to what will eventually be the Kalas. And as they go that way, they actually come across a river that Jake had been going on ahead, and they found him there with an older ferryman who recognizes them as gunslingers and gives them passage across the river on his ferry. Roland is able to realize that a windstorm known as a Stark Blast is on their tail because he's able to read Oi's reaction, because since Oi is a Billy Bumbler, they are able to pick up on Stark Blast before people can. So, they get to a village, an abandoned ghost town, and take up shelter in the town's meeting hall. While they're there, and while the Stark Blast is on full rage outside, Roland decides to tell them a story to pass the time. And this book is technically 3 stories in one. You have the story that takes place in the outline with Roland and his quartet. Then you have the story of the Skin Man and the story of The Wind Through the Keyhole. The next story, which Roland tells them, is the story of the Skin Man, which is a job that Roland's father, Stephen Deshane, sent him and Jamie DeCurry, another young gunslinger, on right after the death of Roland's mother. It takes them to a village in the outlying parts of Inworld known as Debaria. And the reports is that a skin man, which is a man that can change his form to that of animals, sort of like a skinwalker or shapeshifter might be able to do, if you are familiar with those particular mythological creatures. Roland's father, Stephen, does not believe that this is a real thing, so he sends Roland to apprehend the person that's faking it. Well, once they get there and they meet up with the people that his mother came from, and meet somebody that was actually mauled by the creature, they start to believe that this might actually be a thing. Luckily, Roland got advice from another one of his teachers. I can't remember his name. Yeah, I can't remember the name of the teacher, but just to get information on skin men in the event that this was real and how to defeat them. So, whilst there, a ranch in the town gets attacked by the Skin Man, and everybody is killed except for a young boy by the name of Bill. Now, young Bill, he saw the Skin Man change back to a human, but he only saw his feet. So Roland takes the boy, takes him to the town prison where he puts him in a cell for protection. Not that the boy did anything wrong, just to keep him safe, because if the Skin Man knew that Bill had seen him, he might think he could rat him out and come hunting for him. So, while the boy's in there, he's terribly frightened. His father's dead. Everybody he knows is dead. So, Roland, even though he's awkward and doesn't know how to deal with people well, actually decides to stay with the boy for the night and tells him a story. And this is where the story within a story within a story comes in. This is the story of the wind through the keyhole, which is where the book gets its name. Now, the story of the wind through the keyhole starts off in a time long ago, back before your grandfather's grandfather was born. Sort of like a once upon a time thing, and it is about a boy named Tim. Now, young Tim is the son of a lumberjack in the town of Tree. And his father and his father's partner make a living by cutting down the ironwood trees that surrounds the town. Well, one day Tim's father is killed by a dragon. And this leaves Tim and his mother without an income. And this is a problem because the Covenant Man, who is sort of like the tax collector for the town, is coming to collect property tax. And if you cannot pay property tax once a year, your property is seized and you are cast out. So, Tim's trying to find a way to help out. Even though he's only 12, I believe, he tries to think of a way. Well, his father's partner comes to his mother with the proposition of marriage. And he'll be able to take care of her and Tim. Reluctantly, his mother agrees to it. And he learns that his new stepfather, is a drunk, and a violent drunk at that. So, when the Covenant Man eventually does come, he tricks Tim into going into his stepfather's possessions, where he finds his father's lucky coin. Now, this is weird because if a dragon were to have killed his father, how would a coin have survived? Dragon's fire is supposed to be so hot that it melts the bones of the victim. So, how did the coin survive? This raises questions for Tim, so he actually seeks out the Covenant Man, who, at this point, we have discovered he is a man of magic, a wizard. A black wizard at that. So, through a series of events, Tim realizes that his mother's being beaten. So the Covenant Man sends him back home, where his mother is blinded from the beating and in severe condition. But the Covenant Man told Tim if ever he wanted to come find him, and he would help him. One second, my camera's slipping. He would tell him what to do to remove his stepfather from the equation. And also in this process, he found out that his father was not killed by a dragon. He actually finds his father's dead body in the river. So, Tim's furious, to say the least. His mother has been beaten. His father has been killed by his partner, his new stepdad, or as he calls him, his steppa. So when he returns, his steppa is on the run. Sends the entire town after him, and Tim decides the only way he can do anything is to seek out the Covenant Man again and get a power that can destroy him. Well, he goes and looks for him, only to realize that he's been tricked by the Covenant Man, and that he was not actually going to help him at all, but get him lost in the woods where he would die himself. But he finds his way out of the woods, and lo and behold, though, a stark blast is on his tail. He finds a deserted town, which is a little convenient. And the only thing in this town is a giant tower and a tiger in a cage. The only key to the tower is hooked around the tiger's neck. Well, he gets the key from the tiger, releasing the tiger, which didn't try to kill him, instead befriended him. Unfortunately, he was not able to get into the tower. The key was actually to a box on the outside of the tower, which contained a napkin. It was a magical napkin that every time you flipped it, it grew twice as big. And if you were under it, no wind could get to you, nor no wind could move it. So when the shark bass came, him and the tiger seeked refuge under it. Afterwards, the tiger reveals itself to be Merlin the Wizard, and gives Tim the ability to heal his mother, and everybody lived happily ever after. Tim actually ended up becoming a gunslinger. So, after this tale, we go back to the tale of the Skin Man. And Roland hypnotizes the boy to figure out any way to figure out who the Skin Man is. Figures out that he had a blue tattoo on his ankle. This is a sign of prisoners of the town. So he takes everybody in the salt mines and brings everybody with a blue tattoo to Bill. Names. Brings him to Bill, and Bill points out who it is. The Skin Man changes to that of a giant snake. And I think it was like a puka or something like that. Sorry. Ugh. There we go. And kills a couple people. Roland shoots it with a silver bullet, which is the only way to kill a Skin Man. And they return back to Gilead. Mission a success. We return back to our faithful quartet of gunslingers in the world of the Dark Tower. The Stark Blasters pass, and they go about their time on their way to the Kalas. Now this, like I said, it was interesting because I always thought it odd that there was such a gap between the two books. So it was kind of interesting that Stephen King did not actually plan to write this book at the time, but it conveniently worked out that he had a space to put it. The audiobook itself was actually narrated by Stephen King, which is fun. I hadn't seen that before, author actually narrating his own book, so that was cool. But yeah, that's my review or my summary of The Wind Through the Keyhole. Overall, I love the book. It fit well back into the Dark Tower series. It's been a while. It's been a few months since I've actually finished the Dark Tower series, and it was good to actually bring back into that world. Overall, I highly recommend it. Like I said, I will leave a description in the link in the description below, so you can look it up yourself, see if you might want it. It was a 10-hour audiobook. I believe it was around 200 pages. So check it out. If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more reviews by me, please hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that little bell beside it, because that will let you know when I post a video. Since the YouTube algorithm is a little different than it used to be, that's the best way to know when I post something. That's all for me today, guys. I love all of you, and I'll see y'all in the next one.